Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and we are back with more reactions for Marvel's Hawkeye. This time on to episode number 3. Last week we had a pretty solid two episode season 1 premiere. Um, feel somewhat kind of. I mean, I'm gonna call it season 1 anyway, just as like a kind of almost like a just instinctively I'm gonna call it season 1 anyway. But I really don't know if they're gonna go the What If and Loki season with a season 2 on this, or if it's just gonna be like a limited run kind of thing. But either way, for the first season, we had a pretty solid 2 episode premiere that brought Clint Barton and his family back to us too, and also introduced us to Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. So both of those characters were kind of given. I mean semi-equal. I think the first 2 episodes alone kind of showed us like from the get-go that this is going to be like for the most part this is going to be the series that introduces Kate Bishop to the MCU whilst also having Clint around to kind of deal with the kind of like her trail of kind of very very obvious breadcrumbs that that almost any villain can really pick up on and stuff. And I think he like so far I think the overall vibe, even from the promotion of the series, definitely seems like it's like a passing of the torch, like with various characters from various Avengers but like before him and everything. So because of that, I think because of that personally, I feel like even if we do see him as Hawkeye, it will be somewhat minimal, and like the more that we're gonna see of him is as Clint Barton himself as well. So because I mean he saw the news footage of Kate having returned, Kate having donned the Ronin, so he saw the news footage the news footage of Ronin having supposedly returned, and then that gave him kind of PTSD from what he did during the 5 years of the blip as Ronin and stuff, and all the kind of darkness that he carried with him. So I think knowing that that is what's also in his past, I think actually suiting up as Hawkeye as well is pretty much out of the question. So I think he just wants to suit back. He wants to get out now he wants to get out of the way of the tracksuit mafia, and he just wants to get back to his family for Christmas. So being a superhero again is very 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 low at the bottom of the list of priorities that he has in this story. So a lot more Clint Barton, which is great. I think 2 episodes honestly 2 episodes alone have made me enjoy and like love Clint Barton as a character more than all three of the I think three right, because he wasn't in Infinity War, he was in Endgame. So I think all three, like 2 episodes of this show have made me enjoy his character and love his character like all the more compared to the three kind of albeit grouped movie outings combined, because in that one he had to actually wrestle with a few of the other characters for screen time and for actual character time as well. And I think even in the first one he spent like 90% of it hypnotized and playing like an antagonist and everything. So this one it's easy to kind of see that like this one seems like a lot more kind of like Clint centric in all the right ways, and it seems like it's actually gonna enable audiences to actually fall in love with Clint as he is in the comics and as he is meant to be as an actual character and as a person and everything. So that much is very clear from the get go. So there's that, and then Kate is I think Kate for me for me, Kate is equally lovable. She is equally lovable. She is, I mean, for one thing, she's played by Haley Steinfeld, so there's that. But for another thing, she is very, very idealistic and she's very ambitious. And I think, as a kid, she was saved from the Chitauri by Hawkeye. Like she lost her home and potentially her father to the Chitauri, and then he saved her with like an arrow and stuff, and she saw him in the distance actually fighting aliens and doing his iconic kind of jump and swing off the building as he used an arrow, a trick arrow and everything. So she has idolized Hawkeye and archery and superheroism from a young age. So I think she, and then I think from that day on she never specifically swore to be Hawkeye, but she did kind of swear to be able to actually defend her family using a bow and arrow and to actually be that kind of a hero. So you know and even the first time she meets him, she does not hesitate in telling him that he is her favorite Avenger and her hero and everything. So she is she she is in that sense like a very very young kind of Hawkeye in the making. So I think in that sense, this series is obviously gearing up to make her the next Hawkeye and to actually have. And I think if they depending on whenever they go for the whole depending on whenever they go for the whole Young Avengers thing, it's easy to see that she'll be a part of it, and she'll actually be like an archer, or like actually picking up the new Hawkeye mantle and everything. So, I have been recommended by people to actually pick up the Matt Fraction series, the Matt Fraction series of comics the Hawkeye series that Matt Fraction was involved in, because that is the one that the majority of the series is actually adapted from, and that's the one that it takes the most inspiration from. So I am definitely, I mean, I've said this about like a bunch of others. I think honestly, I actually do have like more of like an actual wish list now of actual comics that to actually buy and everything. So I am actually getting closer to actually buying all the comics from years past that I actually needed to buy after having watched the live action and whatnot kind of adaptations of them. So I am close. There's my to read list. My to read list of books and comics is, it's honestly, a bit like a little more extensive than I care to admit. So, I've got a lot of catching up to do. So catch up, I damn well will. But yeah, we met them. So Clinton and Kate, we met them. We met Eleanor as well, like her mother. And I've been reading some theories. That like a lot of people seem to think that Kate's mother Eleanor could be the real villain of the actual story, and like her stepdad Jack Duquesne gives off a villain vibe, but then in the end he could be investigating the stuff going on the same way that Kate is, and then in the end it's actually gonna be Eleanor, and that she also maybe even faked her husband's death during the Chitauri attack and just kind of planted it as like a some kind of some kind of accident during the invasion too. So maybe the entire time she's actually the one, because even then maybe she could have actually stuck into what's his name, not Vinda, that's Doctor Who. What's the uncle's name. There's two of them. There's literally there's like let me, if I can go back and check. Armand. There's a seventh. There's a kid. He's still very much alive, and then there was a third who actually just got murdered and everything. So people think that she snuck into his house and killed him, and then did the whole thing. So some people think it actually could be the mother. Some people think the mother could be the real villain of the story. So I guess we just have to wait and see if that pans out or if it's true. I mean, some people, they have come up with fairly kind of believable theories, but at the same time, it's like, and I think it would be an interesting twist at the end where it's like, Jack just honestly gives off that kind of a vibe, but in the end, he's also just like, I mean, that might just be him. Like it might just be him and his inability to not be creepy or weird or villainous or ominous or something. And then in the end, Eleanor is the actual true mastermind who knows how to keep her cool, who knows how to not raise suspicion and everything. So that would be like a really cool twist if that is. So yeah, so that'd be cool. So that's them. We met them. We got Lucky the pizza dog already. He's already still stealing scenes. We got Lucky the pizza dog. We had the Tracksuit Mafia too. We've been introduced to the Tracksuit Mafia, and who is potentially their leader, Maya Lopez, aka Echo. And Echo, who I think I actually recently, I knew going in this year she was actually deaf and I think mute as well. But she also, I think I've read that she also has these like similar abilities to Taskmaster, wherein she can actually copy her opponent's abilities in combat and everything. So I think that might be like her echo, like they fight her, but then she echoes their moves back and everything. But then also like her, maybe like primarily her echolocation, but then also like her actually repeating the same moves back to them that they throw at her or something. So either way, we had the sneakiest of glimpses of her at the end of the last episode, like a very very cliffhangery glimpse of Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez in the last one. So I think she is actually the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia. Like the big guy actually reported back to her that they have Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. So she now has them in her custody, so very excited to actually meet her and to see what she's all about and see how that interaction goes down. So yeah, and we had the Tracksuit Mafia too, and they are real. They are real from the comics. I think part of me was kind of curious, like, did they actually really do, could they really not come up with, like, an actual name for these guys? So they just kind of created, like, some new kind of gang, or are they actually from the comics? And it's like, yeah, they are in the comics. They are very much in present in the comics. So all the more reason to pick up the Matt Fraction series of Hawkeye, and potentially even other kind of Hawkeye runs as well and stuff. So yeah, if there was ever a time to read comics, it's now. It's pretty much now. So yeah, so that is them. So Tracksuit, Lopez, Hawkeye and Kate, and pretty much everyone else involved. So that's great. So yeah, on to episode number 3 of Marvel's Hawkeye, on to the reaction. And you guys know the drill by now. This one, just the fair use version with the highlights and everything else. But then the full-length one, the unedited reaction, where you can watch the entire episode along with the reaction without any cuts or anything. That one is over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. Just need your own copy of the episode from Disney Plus, and it'll be good to go, and that'll be fun too. So yeah, Hawkeye, episode number 3. Let's go. 2007. So before Iron Man. That was 2008. That was 2008. So before Iron Man. What? So she can't lip read all of it, but it's like, yeah. Because I mean, lip reading can take some training and some skill too. Because I think everyone moves their lips differently, and it's like pronunciations and speed and everything. So.
No. Maybe they are.
The Great Protector would like to have a word.
Live in a different world.
Okay, that's fair. That is true. Tarlo, different. Yeah, that is true. You got to give him that.
You have to learn to jump between two worlds.
Oh, he's wearing a tracksuit. Whoa. Who the hell was that? Who the hell was that? Guy in a big suit. Guy in a big suit. Who the hell was that? Oh, and she has a prosthetic leg too. I think she has a prosthetic leg too. Who the hell was that? Guy in a big suit with a chubby white hand. Don't you be... Oh. Oh, she got him. Oh, she got him. Nice one, Maya. Who the hell was that? There's a guy in a black suit, chubby white hand, right beside her dad. Who was that? Don't be teasing me like that. Don't be making me think things. Don't be making me think things like that. Oh, she looks so cool in the jacket. Yeah, with the hair. Oh, did Ronin take out her crew? There's a sword. Did Ronin take out her crew? Yep, that's Ronin. Oh, damn. Oof. Oh, even her father. He killed her father. God damn it. God damn it. God, the saddest title card. The saddest title card yet. So she's definitely going to have a very, very bloodlustful bone to pick with Clint.
I buy Imagine Dragons tickets.
Imagine Dragons.
Early Christmas gift. Right?
Okay.
So sweet.
Who doesn't like Imagine Dragons? Yeah.
Then we had a fight. You know what she said? She said that the tickets were gift.
You don't have to go see Imagine Dragons.
I love Imagine Dragons.
Well, yeah, Imagine Dragons are they're
She doesn't
alright.
do
Yeah, they're
that.
good.
No, she did.
Look, I think you both owe apologies. Tell her she hurt your feelings. Apologize for pretending that was
A
gift.
criminal,
Wait,
a mob
I need to
member
get
is
it.
actually
Just- okay,
venting to
okay.
her.
See-
He needs a pen. Is he gonna write like a letter, like an actual apology note?
Trust.
You might find you're better off without it.
Yeah, sometimes I think that very same thing. Now the
Oh
suit.
god.
She's not Ronin. Look at her, she's 9.
Oh.
She's spoiled rotten.
So who got him then?
Hawkeye. Black Widow. Oh, Black
So
Widow.
Ronan is dead, and the person who killed him is
Yeah,
dead.
she's
That's
dead
convenient.
too.
How do you know this?
Oh, Attack of the Teddy Bears. Yes. Yeah. Oof. 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 Oh, nice. Nice. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, a headbutt. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Come on, Maya. Come on, Maya. You got this. I know I probably should be rooting for him, but still, I want to see Maya. I want to see Maya in action. Oh, that won't work. Oh. She kicked his hearing aid out. She kicked his hearing aid out. Oh god. So is he deaf now then? Is he fully deaf now? Oh, she crushed the hearing aid. Oh, that is savage. That's actually savage. That is actually savage. That is fully savage. Oh. Oh. Oh god. Oh, how's that gonna work? 2 in 1. Oh, god, it nipped his ear and it broke the tape. Nipped his ear, broke the tape. Okay. Okay, Kate's got him. Kate's got him. Oh, right out the. Ooh, in the feet. In the feet. Oh, oh, come on, Kate. Come on. Oh, yeah, throat, nuts. Yeah. Oh, he's good. He's still got it. He's still got it. Oh, still without even looking. Without even looking. Without even looking. Oh, she had the whole sliding kick thing. Oh, God, that was good. That was good.
We're not smashing a 72 Challenger. Come on.
No, yeah. So the lesser car he will happily smash, yeah. Youth. Youth. Oh, can we get a cool car chase? Can we get a cool car chase? Is it gonna be a one-shot? Are we gonna get a one-shot car chase? That would be insane. Oh, let's go rotating camera. A rotating camera angle. Oh, that's good. Trust a bro. Trust a bro. Moving company. This is all one shot. This is all one shot and just a rotating camera. A rotating camera scene. Oh, God, that is so good. That is actually so good.
They're not regular arrows.
Oh. So, I mean, they're not all the same trick arrows, right? Like, one of them explosive, one's electric, one's something else. Oh, a gooey arrow. A gooey arrow. Play-Doh. Play-Doh. Oh, yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's a good one.
As soon as you label these damn things.
Yeah, or color code them. Yeah, do what they did in the Hunger Games. Color code them. Yeah.
You know, it would be a lot easier if we were facing the other way.
You were facing the other way.
Yeah, just that, hey, we're communicating.
Hang on.
You're communicating, great. Yeah, basic human, yeah, thingy. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is so good. This is very good. Oh, that was an explosive one. That was an explosive one. Ooh. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Wait, who died then? Were they important? Or, like, were they, like, as side characters as you can get? What the hell is that? Like a sucker?
A plunger arrow?
A plunger?
A trick that is completely useless?
Oh, wise, nice. Oh yeah, wise. Oh, they're just pulling in everything. Yeah. Oh, that's them. That's them. Yeah. Okay.
What the hell is
Wise.
that one called?
Sorry, Santa.
The sorry Santa. Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You know, you are destroying his trees. Yeah. The sorry Santa.
Acid arrows. Drop the stop
Acid. Oh, acid. That would be good. That would be good. Acid. Yeah. I mean, it disrupts everyone else's driving too, but hey, you're in a car chase in a superhero story. That, you know, priorities, yeah. And plus they're criminals, they're not gonna listen to stop signs anyway. Oh, gas. Oh, a gas arrow. A gas, funky gas. Oh, okay.
And the Challenger gets totaled anyway.
Yeah, just, you might as well have broken the window. You may as well have just broken the window. Yeah.
Really can't.
Oof. Epic driving. A Subaru. Nice.
Gonna crash into us.
Oh, they are a moving company. They move a lot more than furniture. They move you. Oh, where's it gonna go? Where's it gonna go? Oh, Pim! That's a Pim arrow! That's a Pim arrow! Oh, it's a giant one! He has a Pim arrow! He has Pim particle arrows that enlarge! He has a Pim arrow! He had a Pim arrow, a Pim tech arrow! Damn, Scott really hooked him up! Oh, a USB arrow. A USB arrow. He's got the classic USB arrow. He has a Pim tech arrow. That is so cool. Oh, epic backflip off a bridge. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, that classic, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, now the plunger comes in useful. Now the plunger comes in useful. Every arrow has a purpose. Every arrow finally has a purpose in the end. Oh, that's so good.
Oh, we gotta walk the dog.
Yeah, Lucky's gonna be waiting for you at the apartment, wondering what the fuck happened. Yeah.
Not quite sure how long a dog can
Call
live.
yourself one of the world's greatest archers.
Hey, she did a good job. Yeah, archeristically. Oh. So does it come in and out? Is that how it happens? Does it actually just phase in and out, like his hearing ability?
Daniel? Nathaniel?
What's the boy?
What is everything okay? Where's Mama?
Is she gonna write stuff down? Is she gonna? Oh, she's gonna write down. Okay, that's good.
It might be a little delayed, but it's kind of
Everyone
a bad
asleep. He's
connection.
bored. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool though. She's actually still helping out. Yeah.
You're the early bird. Hey, bud, I miss you. Why don't you
Oh.
go get some breakfast?
God,
and
they're so soft.
read a book or something until Mama wakes up. I really wish I could be here with you, buddy. You know how much I love that. Nathaniel?
Did he hang up?
Buddy? Oh, boy, I got to tell you, I miss you so much.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Clint. Oh.
And you know I'm going to be there, like I said, right? I'm so happy to hear your voice. Daddy's got to go, okay? I love you. I love you more. Goodbye.
I think that's how we did it. I don't know. I need to still learn sign. Oh God, Kate, you are amazing. You are amazing. Oh God, that entire scene. Wow. Oh God, just wow. 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 Oh God. Uncle? Who's Uncle? Is it the guy from we saw in the beginning? The mystery, the guy in the black suit? Oh, Lucky. How you doing, pal? Look at him. How? He is innocent and deserves to be protected. Good thing they call you Hawkeye and not Hawkeye.
Delete.
Oh, blocked and deleted at long last.
Is this life you want to live?
Being a
To really
superhero.
help people, really try to help people anyway.
Yeah.
Comes a lot of sacrifices. And some things you'll lose.
I mean, you didn't. Shield kept your family off the radar and they stayed safe and you still had them.
I've been thinking about your branding issue.
He needs a
You need a
costume.
more recognizable costume.
His iconic costume with the Wolverine style mask and everything and the H on the emblem.
My job for the last 20 years was to be not recognizable, right?
Yeah, he was a spy. Yeah, he was a spy. Oh, she actually drew the thing. She actually drew the thing. She actually drew the thing. She drew the thing.
Like a hawk.
Yeah, like a hawk, and then a
on the
H.
forehead.
Yeah. And he even has the arrow down on the thing. Oh, that's oh God.
There are several reasons why I never wear a flashy costume.
Uh,
My job is to be, number one, a ghost. Number two,
well, it can be dark purple.
my wife
You know.
would divorce me if I put something like this on. Look out. You have to name this dog, you know.
Lucky. Look at him. He looks like such a Lucky. He looks like such a Lucky. Nah, dog father.
It's your dog of pizza. Pizza dog.
Pizza dog. Yeah, he's a pizza dog. He's a pizza dog.
Yeah, bad stuff.
You care to elaborate?
Not really.
What do they do?
They started small, but grew. There's the guy at the top. He'll do anything to grow the operation.
Uncle.
I thought Maya was the boss.
Uncle.
Now there's someone above Maya. Someone
Uncle.
you don't want to mess with.
There's
Uncle.
obviously bad blood with Ronan, right?
I don't want to say it, but is it Kingpin? Is it Kingpin? That's what I've been thinking this entire time. Is it Kingpin? Is it him?
A lot of drama.
He was at the auction that night, and yesterday he offered me a butterscotch.
Okay, when you put it like that, it...
And when I tried to
Yeah.
stab him in the face to prove he was lying, he parried like a pro.
Again.
your mother's fiance in the face?
Plus, he has everything to gain from Armand's death. Bishop Security has a huge criminal database. There's gotta be info on the
does?
tracks and Jack in there.
He keeps that kind of information? Or like who breaks in? Have they tried to break into Bishop security systems before?
Jeez, this is a home.
This is a...
Yeah, my great-great-great-great-grandfather built the building.
Of course he did.
I tried to swing from that very chandelier and broke my arm. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
You should go into security.
How did you say
Yeah.
Armand was killed?
Is the mother home? Is Eleanor home?
Don't move.
Oh, it's Jack! Jack's home and he's got the sword. He's got the sword. Okay. No way. Oh, Burton Buddy directed this. That's cool. No way you ending that there. That felt so short. That felt so short. No way. That did not feel like an ending at all. No freaking way. Oh god. Is there anything posty about this? Any posty credits? No posty credits, no. That felt so short. That legitimately felt so short. Or maybe just like not a lot, not like huge amounts of stuff actually happened. Maybe, yeah. Okay, so yeah, again, it really did not. I mean, again, I mean, yeah, I mean, it honestly, at least upon first glance, at least upon first viewing, it didn't really feel like a lot besides from some action sequences happen. I think there's like a fair enough amount of necessary backstory in the beginning to open up the episode and show us like at least like a fair balanced kind of view of who Maya Lopez was and where she came from and what her history is and what her personal history is and also what her history with Clint as Ronan is. So there was that was some really cool stuff, and then the rest of it definitely seemed like just mostly just Clint and Kate like mostly cooperatively escaping from the tracksuits and actually getting to some safety and rendezvousing and doing some cool stuff here and there. So that was fun. That much was fun. That was fun. But yeah, we met Maya Lopez. I think her story began in 2007, just before Iron Man 1, so technically there's her story starts before Tony's does in 2008. So 2007 is Maya Lopez, and I think her family, or at least her father, I don't know if he's like a single parent or something, but her family cannot afford like for her to actually go to like a school for deaf children, or for like probably even just like for special needs education in general. So she's kind of so she's pretty much thrown into a pool with all the kind of like all the kind of like hearing abled kind of kids. Like I don't know what the word for that would be, like kids who can hear and don't need any kind of a special engagement or anything. So she's there, and I think even from a young age, like her lip reading was still kind of like she was still kind of undergoing that kind of practice and that kind of training. So that much was very clear. So seeing her actually still kind of like getting words here and there, and even getting words, and in other cases actually getting parts of words and everything. I think lip reading as a whole too. I think sign language has been something I've always been curious about learning, like in general. And then of course like the kind of like not to glorify it or like to romanticize it or anything, but like I actually like its kind of use in Eternals as well as this now has also kind of like sparked my kind of interest and sparked my motivation just just that much more. But then I've always kind of been curious about sign language too, and stuff like it's always felt like something useful and also something kind of cool to learn. So I think like if and when I ever actually get around to that and actually do, because I think that one too, I think sign language, so I think, because I mean sign language, I think I'm in the UK, so I think there's British sign language, and then there's I think the one kind of shown more kind of colloquially in the media is actually ASL, which is American sign language. So I think I don't know exactly what the exact differences between those would be, because I mean even written American English and British English is just like the spelling and stuff of like certain letters and everything, of certain words and everything. So I think with ASL and BSL, I don't know if the hand movements would be entirely different or if there'd be something else, but either way, I've heard that sign language itself is still like a fairly complicated kind of language to learn, and it's like it takes time practicing by yourself and also like actually holding a conversation with another hard of hearing or deaf individual who speaks through sign too. So seeing her actually lip reading as well, I think lip reading, to me lip reading sounds like it would be like albeit it being visual, it seems like that would be like an equally complicated thing to learn, because again with lip reading too, it's like I mean, because I feel like when it comes to sign, I feel like I could be entirely wrong on this, but I feel like when it comes to sign, it's like there's only really one way to sign. Like if you get the hand movement wrong, then it's pretty much obvious. It's pretty obvious to anyone who knows and understands sign that you got the hand movement wrong, and then you actually you have to actually redo it or try something else. I think I've heard that some hand movements actually have like accents to them or actually have like different kind of styles to them. So I think there's actually, even for ASL, like someone can tell if you're like from the north or the south, or like what kind of region you're from. So I don't know if that kind of if there's any authenticity to that, or if that's just something people say, but I've heard that that's a thing too. But I think even with sign, I feel like as long as you get the hand movements actually right, then it's easy to do. But then with lip reading, it's like people have different accents, different way, like different speeds of talking. Me, I stutter the hell all of my words. So someone trying to lip read me would probably be a nightmare. Probably be a nightmare, won't lie. People have different accents, they have different ways of kind of moving their mouth, like they did different kind of thickness and different ways of saying the words, and like some people move their mouth a lot, some people don't. I think especially like in the end of the last episode, we saw the guy literally enunciating, like we saw the guy literally over pronouncing, like we have Hawkeye and Cape, like he was actually trying to make it as clear as he possibly could for her. But nothing by that time too, we probably see that like she's probably still, she still had the interpreter, but then she still kind of like still tried to go in, like try to actually get her own reading as well as actually trusting her interpreter's words too. So but with lip reading, I think I feel like it's like it takes practice, but also it takes actually adapting to different people too, because again, different people can move their mouths and talk in different ways at different speeds and different accents and stuff like that. So because of that, I feel like like lip reading, it takes actual kind of it takes somewhat of like a more varied kind of level of like professionalism and actual training to actually do like fully flawless lip reading and stuff and everything. So either way, I think lip reading can still be useful. I think I think maybe as long as you can actually make a few words out, then maybe you can still kind of do something with it and actually still kind of use it. But I think sign is also like the one that's like a bit more known and everything. So yeah, but yeah, so Maya does actually like she was using sign from a very young age. She was actually using sign with her father too. So that was cool. So I think with her, she is fully kind of deaf, and I think with her deafness and Clint's deafness too, I think it's like because I think at least the way it's been portrayed in the media, like the way it's been portrayed in the media is that they're deaf to the point where they're like sounds and speech are muffled, but it's not like it's not like some actual clear white noise silence or like complete and utter silence. Like I think at least not for everyone, but I think maybe for most people it's like they are hard of hearing, or maybe like they're deaf, but the kind of the more technical kind of aspects of it is that like sounds are muffled and they really can't make much out and they really can't do stuff with it. But then again everyone is different. Everyone has very varied levels of like hearing kind of like difficulties and everything. So it's important to learn sign language anyway. Like you never know when you might meet someone who's hard of hearing or deaf. You never know like when that kind of language might come in handy. Like even like maybe if one day so like something happens to you or something happens to someone So yeah, so she used sign language and she was kind of and again she was in like a regular. I think she was in a regular class. I think I can kind of understand, right? I think I can definitely kind of understand them. I can kind of understand them not being able to maybe like afford like a proper professional kind of special needs kind of school, like a school as a whole. But then the fact that maybe her like the school that she went to, even if it was a public school, the fact that the school she went to probably wouldn't even have like a special needs kind of department or like a special needs kind of room for kids like her. Like I think it doesn't really seem that plausible. Like I think maybe like even like as soon as they find out about her and like and her difficulties, like then like maybe like they wouldn't even try and like adapt and try and like put her with like another teacher who can actually help her, or actually try and put together some kind of a program. Because then I mean on the one hand, sure, she might feel othered or isolated or something else because she's different, but then again it's like and I think it's clear that she adapted too. It's clear that like her written work was more than enough to actually compensate for her like not really being able to audibly contribute in class and everything. But at the same time it's like especially growing up as a kid too, it's like like she grew up in because she wasn't able to actually afford that kind of education and like an education actually tailored to her and her needs, and to actually make sure that she grew up in the best environment possible. Because of that, she was told by her father, you're gonna have to learn to jump between two worlds as you grow up. You're gonna have to learn to jump between your world and theirs, and actually adapt to theirs, and then use yours to your advantage when you can too. So she grew up. I think they didn't really show it being like they didn't really show her struggling in like an emotionally kind of incapacitating way, or like it didn't really show her struggling in a way that really got to her. But then it seems more like she actually heeded her father's advice and actually learned and adapted and became the best version of who she was, which she fucking well did in the very end and everything. So that was cool. So that was fun. And she has a prosthetic leg too, so I don't know if maybe that was like that was like an accident, or maybe she was actually born without the leg and she actually got like another one too. I think she's had like a one since she was a kid, so I think she's actually grown with like different sizes for her legs as she's grown up too. So she has a prosthetic leg, and which has come in so handy, like especially in the present day, it has come in really rather handy. And then yeah, flash forward to the present of the flashback, but a bit more of the present, like at least during the blip, So then we know that Maya and her father and her crew back then were not blipped. Maya and her father were not blipped. They were still very present during that kind of time, and they were killed by Ronin, the tracksuit. Like I think at least maybe like the original roster of the tracksuit mafia was killed by Ronin, and brutally. So like that shot too. I think that I'm pretty sure that might have been like at least like if not like a one shot, or at least like 3 shots, like one or maybe like at most like 3 shots actually shown actually of her moving from window to window, actually watching, and even us as the audience actually seeing Ronin just brutally cutting down. He cut them down. He fully cut them down and stuff. And I think there was a reference I remember in Endgame. I think it was actually like a different like a Mexican cartel gang that he killed in Endgame that actually kind of put him back on the Avengers radar and everything. But then even in that one, Rhodey kind of described how the cartel didn't even have time to actually get their guns out and fire shots before he actually mowed them all down. And it's like it was actually that brutal and that ruthless of a method. So he was fully showing no mercy whatsoever. He was just angry and he was vengeful, and he was Ronin. So I think with this one we see him jumping from car to car, just slicing them down and stabbing them, and just not really showing any mercy whatsoever. So yeah, so she sees that, and then I think in that final shot, I fully thought she was actually gonna go running after him, but then no, it's because she actually saw that it was actually her father who was actually stabbed. So then she just got out of cover as quickly as possible. But then by the time she got into the room, he had already jumped out the window and stuff. So yeah, so Ronin killed her father. He killed her father, and he died in her arms too. He died in her arms, and even that story of like actually fly away a little dragon, because he told her the dragon story, and she asked about dragons when she was a kid. So again, they may well be criminals, but they're still, they were still, like a family, like he was still her father, she was still his daughter, like that. I think, like, despite them being criminals, and I think, if you've read the comics, you probably know what they've done. But then at least me, not being a comic reader, I don't know exactly how bad their crimes might be. Like if it actually goes to full on murdering, or if they're like, because I don't know why, but I think the crime that comes to mind when I think of them is probably like something probably as bad as like money laundering, like maybe like that kind of fraudulence, or that kind of that kind of illegal activity. I think I don't know why, but money laundering is the worst kind of most spontaneous crime my mind can come up with for them. Like, oh, the tracksuit mafia, they operate in and out of like car dealerships or car warehouses on the end, and then it's launder money or something. So that's like probably the worst thing they've done. But I don't know. I think until I actually read the comics and see what they're all about, then probably, or at least even wait until the next episode, because even Clint, even this one, like he just kind of refused to elaborate. Like they are like a pretty strong kind of crime family and everything. So, and like a crime ring. So they are not to be trifled with. But he just didn't really elaborate on what it was that they did and how they operated and everything. So, unless you're a comic reader, then you don't know exactly where that's going. So, but even then, I think it's been it was well enough established in that point. I think Ronin killing them established that they were bad enough criminals for them to actually go on the show. Because I think he wouldn't necessarily go after anyone lower than that. Like he wouldn't go after like pickpockets or simple. He probably wouldn't go after like pickpockets or simple muggers, or people who rob stores. But I actually do wonder, like, if he killed everyone he classed as a criminal, if his killing of criminals was actually defined right down to exactly how bad their crimes were, like if he killed murderers and rapists and killers and like the absolute worst of the worst of criminals, or if he actually if he or if he just went after all of them, like regardless of what their crime was. Because I feel like the kind of world that he would be in then too, because everyone disappears equally, but then it still means that some of the good are left behind and then some of the bad are left behind too. So there could easily be in some cases, in some regions, or in some cases there could easily still be more criminals left over than victims, so then they would be overpowered and everything. So you know, in that case, Ronan, I think, probably would be necessary, or he'd probably find himself to be necessary. So, because of that, like, I do wonder, like, if he went after everyone and anyone, or if he actually still kind of like, if he had like some kind of like a hit list, or like some kind of like an actual kind of like a category list of like, oh, okay, these guys need to die, but then these guys, they're stupid and harmless. That you don't really need to go after them. So I think it makes you wonder like exactly what the Tracksuit Mafia did that made them. So I mean, because I mean, they use guns and they use weapons, so they're clearly not afraid to kill to anyone who gets in their way. But then, what exactly is it that they do beyond that actually kind of classes them as so deadly and so kind of deserving of his blade in the end? So either way, he killed them. So I think with Maya and her father, like, they were a tightly knit family either way. So losing him at the hands of Ronan was still a traumatic experience for her, and even like the blood being wiped all over her face at the end too. That shot was just pretty big. So yeah, she lost her father at the hands of the Ronin. So she had a very obvious bone to pick with Ronan himself. So yeah. Okay, and I think we need to talk. We need to talk about this, right? We need to talk about this. I feel like we definitely need to talk about this. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Uncle. So I mean, they mentioned they actually they called him Uncle. They named him far later in the episode, but then by that time it's like, you know, oh, Uncle, that's a new name. You're like a mystery person. It's like there's a mystery person far earlier on in the episode, in the very flashback that they showed us. So I think Kate is with her father, who's wearing a tracksuit. Kate is with her father in the actual martial arts dojo and everything, and he's getting ready to go. Then a guy comes up. I feel like I actually almost missed it because I was actually writing stuff down, but then out of the corner of my eye, I just saw like this black kind of mask covering the screen. I actually looked up, and there was just a guy, like a giant dude in a all black suit, standing behind Kate's father as he got up and left. And then he reached down, and he had the chubbiest white fingers on his hand too. So it's like, you know, like, again, like, they better not be making us think things that should not be thought. They better not be making us think things that should not be thought in the end, or are not worth thinking in the end, because if they are, then that is the most unnecessary of red herrings. But then, you know, again, this is a criminal organization, and apparently the guy at the top wants to run everything, and he needs everything to be run perfectly. As far as I know, as far as I can tell, and as far as I feel, there is only one man in the MCU, one man in the Marvel Universe who would be perfect for that kind of a role, and that is the one and only Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. As we've already seen him in live action, we have already seen plenty of him being played in Daredevil by Vincent D'Onofrio. If they're bringing that motherfucker back, if they are bringing him back, we might just be about to be done. If we're gonna get Kingpin returning in Hawkeye. Sweet mother of all that is good and holy. Okay, so I mean, again, it just feels like the most obvious of like teasers, but then it's like, you know, like we hear him laugh too. And it's not like it's like a deep laugh, like a deep heavy laugh, but it's not like a guttural laugh. Because I think Kingpin, even as Wilson Fisk, Vincent, actually, I think Vincent himself actually has, like, I think I've actually seen a couple of his interviews. He actually has like a softer kind of calmer kind of voice, but then as Wilson Fisk, he intentionally has like a much more grovelly, much more kind of heavier, kind of more he has a much more I had the word in my head, I had the right adjective in my head, like a more grovelly, more kind of like raspier kind of voice too. So he laughed, but it wasn't really much of a raspy laugh. It was more like a heavy, kind of like a sinistery kind of laugh, like a laugh that sounded fit enough for Kingpin. But, you know, like, again, fully black suit, a pretty wide kind of frame for Kingpin himself too, a pretty wide frame, and he reached down and he had the chubbiest kind of white fingers. So again, not to judge the hand appearance too much, but so he had the chubbiest kind of white fingers on his hand that he reached down to kind of to shake hands with Maya with. So again, if that I think that glimpse alone, that visual glimpse alone, had me thinking for the rest of the episode, like, is it him? Are we getting him back? Are we getting the Kingpin himself back? Like, because I think, you know, I think I didn't even say it in my head. Like, in my head, it took me like a good few minutes to even actually say the name, to even have the courage to say the name. But then the entire time I was visualizing Wilson Fisk from Daredevil. I was actually visualizing Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. The entire time I was visualizing it, and then it actually took me like a few more minutes, like a good 10, 15 more minutes to actually even dare to say his name in my head. I just kept on thinking back to it, being like, you know, that had to be Kingpin. That had to be Kingpin. And then in the end, I think even the end, Kazi actually references Uncle too. He actually references Uncle, and he actually shows it. Like, he actually says that, you know, like Uncle won't be happy if we're like doing this, that, or the other. If we're dilly-dallying with Ronin instead of actually getting business done, and if we're doing all this stuff to Uncle. I mean, they call him Uncle. They call him Uncle, which, I mean, you know, because I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine Kingpin being okay with anyone calling him Uncle. I think part of me feels like he'd either want people to call him Fisk, Mr. Fisk, or Kingpin. I think someone calling him Uncle. I mean, unless, you know, unless he somehow knew, because I mean, wait, would the timelines even match up on that? Would the timelines really match up on that? Because I think Wilson Fisk became the Kingpin. I mean, unless he had even shadier stuff going on before his appearance on Daredevil. Because his origins were shown on Daredevil, but then unless his shady business dealings actually went beyond that, and his actual kingpininess kind of, you know, actually originated before then. But then even back into 2007, because I guess it kind of makes sense that that even when she was a kid, he'd still be a grown adult. He'd be a grown man. So then, but then, would he be Kingpin back then? Or like, would he be Kingpin back in 2007? Because I think even Daredevil, Daredevil was meant to take place after the Avengers. That's in 2012. So I think 2013, 14, maybe 15 at a push. I think that's when Daredevil season 1 might be meant to take place. So then, would he still be? You know, I don't know. Because again, Kingpin's origins, or at least his beginning, like the beginning of the story that we see is shown to us in Daredevil season 1, but then, you know, it depends on whether or not his actual behavior and his kind of criminal master plans and his shady business dealings actually started originating before the season actually premiered. Because then we even see his backstory in season 1, but then that's when he's a kid. So then, unless he actually did start getting dressed up all dapper before that, like years before then, you know, unless he actually delved into the criminal underworld even before Daredevil season 1, then that might be the only way to explain it. So yeah, I haven't seen Daredevil season 1 in years, in the years since it actually premiered on Netflix and everything. So, you know, my knowledge on that kind of on that particular backstory is all the more vague. So I don't know, but either way, Uncle. I mean, again, you know what? Again, I'm not gonna hold out I'm not gonna hold out any particular expectations, because I think it could either go one of two ways. I feel like it could either go one of two ways, or a third way, maybe one of three. I think one of two ways. Either it's not Kingpin and it's just someone else who oozes Kingpin's energy, or, you know, wait, what was the two ways that I was gonna say? I was gonna say God, no, great. Now I've forgotten what my original two ways were. I came up with you see now what's happening. I came up with two ways, then I came up with a third way, then I forgot what the two ways were. Now that I started trying to remember what the two ways were, I've forgotten what the third way is. I've just forgotten everything I was gonna say. I've forgotten every point I was gonna fucking make. God fucking damn it, brain. Okay, so I think so. One, it may not be Kingpin at all, and it could be played by someone completely different too. Might not that. Two, it might not be Kingpin, but they might still bring Vincent D'Onofrio. I actually don't want them to do that. I actually really don't want them to do that. I do, because I think that would end up being equivalent to the whole kind of Evan Peters being Ralph Boner thing in WandaVision. Like they brought him back as Quicksilver for a red herring, and then eventually he turned, like, his real persona was Ralph Boner and everything. So they just threw that all away. So I think I really don't want them to end up bringing Vincent D'Onofrio back only to have him play someone who's not Kingpin. Or the third one, which I think people would equally despise. I think a fair amount of people would equally despise them actually bringing back Wilson Fisk as Kingpin, but he's not played by Vincent D'Onofrio. So that one, they might recast him. They might. I mean, knowing Marvel, you never know what they might do. They might recast him. So again, like, that is something that fans would likely also equally despise as bringing him back but not having him play Kingpin, because I think that one just wouldn't make sense. But then the other one would also just kind of feel unfair and feel kind of weird to actually have someone completely different playing him. So Yeah, but again, the guy oozes Kingpin vibes. That character as a whole just oozes Kingpin vibes, and they just seem very, very fitting for that kind of role. And I think it's just a great way to bring back Kingpin too, actually bringing back like a giant criminal kind of ring that wants Hawkeye and Kate dead, and they're kind of and you know, just to actually said like, you know, he even said like, you know, he even said they started small, but then they started growing. Like, you know, like, they started small, but then they grew. So I think that kind of thing would definitely plausibly happen under the influence of Kingpin himself, to him being at the top and him maybe overseeing like a bunch of different networks and bunch of different criminal rings throughout New York too. So it could definitely work. So, you know, maybe we might just get Kingpin back. So we'll have to wait and see. Because I feel like, you know, I feel like they might just build up the uncle reveal the same way they built up the power broker thing, except I think people kind of did theorize over the course of the last few episodes that Sharon may well have been the power broker too. So I think for some people it was a surprise, for others not so much. So with that one, it didn't really come as like too much of a surprise. But with that one, I think with this one though, because it's uncle, because he's meant to be a lot more mysterious and he's meant to be a lot more kind of like people from the get go are gonna guess like, oh my god, is that Kingpin? Is that really Wilson Fisk? Because of that, it might have like a power broker reveal, but just like some levels more of like hype and mystery to it. So it might not be until the very finale that we actually see who the Kingpin is. So yeah, I guess we'll find out. We'll have to wait and find out. But yeah, Uncle, he is at the very top. He's the one behind Maya. He's the one above all superior. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and find out if it really is who we want it to be and who we think it is. So yeah. And we probably met Farafi too. Farafi is playing Kazi, and he is not only a member of the Tracksuit Mafia, but he is also Echo's interpreter. So I think Echo still has a presumably trusted kind of person to actually be her interpreter who speaks fluent ASL too. So he, you know, translates from on both ends too. So that's cool. So yeah, I think he was promoted from the get-go to be like a fairly strong kind of portion of the kind of leading cast too. So I think he, from here on out, he may well have like a more prominent role alongside Maya in conducting the I was about to say the Breakfast Club. No, the Tracksuit Mafia's operations and their, you know, criminal dealings and everything. So that's cool. So he is there. I think he's also, he seems like some sense of an equal, maybe even a partner to Maya as well, because I think he's the only one who can actually communicate with her, and ergo he's the only one who actually understands her and understands what she wants, and he's the one who can keep her grounded, and he's the one who can actually talk her down, because he even actually pulled her away from nearly snapping Kate's neck or even harming her or breaking her in any way. So I feel like he's the one who might keep her grounded, and he's the one who might actually kind of pull her back from the dark side or whatever, and he might be the one with the closest kind of connection to her, and the one with the closest level of communication. So because of that, I feel like that kind of duality is going to be interesting to see in the coming episodes too, so that should be fun. But he seems okay so far. I think even dubbed as Kate by the Hawkeye who speaks dubbed by Kate as the Hawkeye who speaks sign language, so to each their own, I suppose. But but yeah, Farafi as Kazi seems fun. Oh god, that car chase sequence is easily one of the best like action sequences, and also one of the best, like easily so far the best kind of car chase action sequence I've seen in the MCU as a whole. You know, like that one to begin with from the get-go, like it actually transforms almost immediately into a one shot from the camera, and like for a solid like 10, 20, maybe even 30 seconds, it just kind of keeps going as a one shot with the camera rotating in the back seat and actually showing the front, and like Hawkeye and Clint and Kate doing their thing and actually rotating back again to see how the Tracksuit Mafia is catching up with them, and it just keeps on rotating everything. So that kind of one shot, I mean, it had me hopeful the longer it went on that the entire chase thing would be a one shot. But I think that would be optimistic and ambitious, and I think that would also cost them a lot of money too, to actually keep the camera rotating and to keep the entire thing running like that. But also take a lot of skill for them to actually be able to rehearse like a fight scene like that from start to finish. Because I think that entire fight scene, I think it took like a fair amount of time. Like I think it took like 10, maybe 15, just over 15 minutes. I think it actually took it, like, I think if that was going to be a one shot, it would have actually taken like a fair amount of time to actually rehearse and to actually get it right properly. And also again, because of the like if that was going to be a one shot, that would be like one long reel of footage too. So again, props to them for pulling it off the best way that they could. It still worked flawlessly. It still worked absolutely perfectly. So I think that kind of fight scene too, and I think especially the fact that, you know, because the thing, it also kind of reminds me like especially all the different arrows they pulled out. It especially reminds me like how people would use. I think this entire show. I mean, to be fair, this entire show is pretty much disproving all the people who call Clint just the bow and arrow guy. People who kind of look at Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and be like, oh yeah, those guys are Avengers. But then to them, Black Widow is just a person who shoots, and then Clint is just a person with the bow and arrow, and they're all too human for them. They're all too human and too vulnerable for them. But you know, Black Widow has routinely shown us that she's adaptable and powerful and skilled and has her own strength, and she is, you know, perfectly skilled and perfectly useful for almost any given situation. I swear to God, if someone brings up jumping off a cliff, I'm gonna throw you off a vomit. But yeah, no, but then, you know, Clint, I think that this show is essentially, I mean, not that he hasn't had some badass tricks in the movies, but I think this show as a whole is Clint, especially Clint's chance to disprove the haters and show that he is a lot more than just the arrow guy. Because even when he picked up the bow and arrow from The Office in like back in the tracksuit guy's lair, he was just skillfully murking dudes with the arrow. Like he was, you know, firing off arrows in all sorts of directions and getting 2-in-1s and doing that stuff. And then even actually he still, you know, pulled off like an arrow from behind without even looking at the guy behind him. So he's an expert. He's an expert marksman, but he's also an expert archer. He's an expert archer. I think archery too. Archery takes like, you know, like to be able to perform archery like that takes, you know, skill and practice and just you know, levels of mastery to the entire kind of sport. So, you know, he's a very skilled marksman, and even like physicality too, actually jumping off the platform like that, actually aiming and firing right on time, and actually doing stunts like that actually take, you know, I think even in real life, that stuff could it is, I know it is possible, because I think his name might be Lars Anderson. I think he's like a Dutch or German kind of archer. Like if you go onto YouTube and type in Lars Anderson archery, that one video, like that dude not only disproves quite a few of Hollywood's kind of tricks and tactics of showing off archery stunts, but he actually remodels them to make them look a bit more realistic. And I think he actually just goes to show, you know, like just how long it takes to actually still master some of those skills and some of the stunts, and to actually kind of pull them off in a more realistic and more effective way. He shows, like, you know, like just how long you have to train, just how far you have to train, and how far you gotta go to pull off something that believable. So he, you go onto YouTube and type in Lars Anderson kind of stunts or Lars Anderson archery, like that dude, he is Hollywood archery come to life in like that much more of like a real kind of way. So with this one, I think again it shows, you know, Clint is essentially the Lars Anderson of the MCU. He's like a master archer, a master marksman, a master kind of like physically very capable, but he's also still very human. I think in this one it kind of helps that he's also going up against he is arguably more skilled than the average human, but then he's also still human. So I think when it comes to like alien invasions and robot uprisings and everything, he's still kind of like he has to push himself to his own limits to actually try and defeat them. But then if he's coming up against other humans who are either equally or less talented than him, then he still just has to use his own kind of natural skills, and he can stop worrying about dying from something other than kind of bullets and stuff. So, and I think, yeah, I think especially that scene showing that every arrow is useful, every arrow that they have is useful. Again, I think that also kind of shows that, you know, like he's not just a bow and arrow guy, he's the guy with the incredibly useful and tactical bow and arrows. Like, you know, I think his bow. Even I don't know if he actually had the same bow in this one, because I think it looked like in some shots it looked like the similar bow, but then in shots where he actually needed to use it, it would magically transform into an actual bow with a string and everything. But yeah, I think it was in Civil War. In Civil War, he had the bow that would actually go from the bow, but then if he flipped it, then it would actually transform into like a bow staff, and he could use it as like an actual close range melee weapon too, and then he'd probably have to flip it back out again, and he could actually use it. I think in this one, I think like in one shot here, I think he actually pressed a button or something, and then actually kind of like extended and transformed into like a full-on bow. So I don't know exactly how like if this was that same bow or if it was actually like a different bow, but I think he has used that bow before too, like the one that actually transforms into a bow staff and otherwise. So again, he is a very tactical person. So I think his arrows, you know, are very, very tactical in that sense too. He has, like, I think in this one they explored a variety of different bow and arrows, which in their own time, in their own way, they became incredibly useful. So they had like a Play-Doh arrow that completely fucked up the windshield. They had an explosive arrow which kind of has been used before and has been very, very useful in its own regard. They had unarguably the coolest and the most surprised one. They actually just showed us like an actual glimpse of the actual logo on the arrowhead before it actually transformed. He has a Pimtech arrow. He has a Pimtech arrow that enlarges whatever it hits. So obviously Kate fires off the first one into the air, and then he follows it, and then he actually that arrow hits the other arrow, and it actually gets bigger and bigger. So he has a Pimtech arrow. Scott hooked him up. Scott undoubtedly after their time together in Civil War, Scott undoubtedly hooked him up, and I think it's a hell of a glow up too. That one is also like a hell of a glow up in the sense that he goes from actually having an enlarging dude, like a tiny dude that gets bigger on his actual arrow, and then that same dude later on hooks him up with like a cool arrow that can actually enlarge whatever it is. So the Pimtech arrow, that was sweet. That was actually sweet. That was actually really, really sweet. So that was really cool to see. As soon as I saw the glowing Pim lettering on the head, I was like, Pim? Wait, what like Pimtech? Oh my god, is it like my first thought was, okay, Pimtech created Ant-Man, and Ant-Man gets smaller. By nature, his primary thing is getting smaller. But then from Civil War onwards, they actually showed how he can actually get bigger too. They've actually changed the suit. They've actually upgraded it. They've actually upgraded it and actually added a feature that allows it to get bigger too, so he can actually grow smaller, but he can also enlarge. So then I thought, wait, is the arrow gonna get smaller and then it's gonna multiply or something? But then no, it's like, oh wait, no, but they can get bigger too. Oh, the arrow's gonna get bigger. The arrow is undoubtedly gonna get bigger and stuff. So yeah, Pimtech arrow. That was such a cool addition. Such a cool addition. And they saved it for the perfect time. They saved it. I'm so glad Kate didn't end up picking that arrow out accidentally or anything. So I'm really glad they actually picked that arrow out on time and used it in the perfect way. So get one giant arrow down the bridge and then the transport is fucked up. So that one really worked. That Pimtech arrow really worked. So that was cool. Then they had a bunch of other ones. There was like a gas arrow that stopped some of them short, and then the explosive one, and then they had the plunger one, which didn't come in useful until later on. The plunger one didn't really come in useful on the windshield until later on. They actually used it to swing out the side of the bridge and actually stick themselves to the train that was traveling under it and everything. So there was that. Then there was the USB. I think the USB arrow. It would have. On the one hand, it would have been cool to see them actually using it for an actual technological purpose. Maybe firing it into the I don't know exactly. I don't know how or if that would work, but maybe actually firing it into the car somehow and actually having it shut down if it was like an electric car, or if it was actually like that kind of like that. Because nowadays, based on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like them firing off the EMP in season 4, and them shutting down all cars that were advanced enough to actually be shut down by like an EMP, maybe then in this case, like it could be a USB arrow that carries like an EMP with it, or like some kind of virus with it or something. So maybe it can actually shut down a car or something. So maybe that could happen. But no, they're just gonna use it as a decoy, like she fired at some guy and it just kind of bounced right off his belly and everything. So just used it as a decoy arrow. So there was that. And I think I love even her actually bringing back that quip of like like a USB arrow. Like what the hell is this gonna do? Like are you really gonna like make them struggle to insert someone? I think because again I think that would be like a funny quip to have with the USB arrow. Like you fire it at something, but then it actually doesn't go in right the first time, so you have to actually go pick it up and fire it again or do something. But then that I don't know, that just seems more relatable than firing an actual person. So USB arrow, maybe, hopefully we see it returning in like a more efficient and more useful way later down the line, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. But each arrow had a purpose, and I think that, again, that entire car chase sequence was flawless from start to finish. I think they utilized the art of archery and the kind of, the history of archery used by Hawkeye in this kind of in the MCU so flawlessly, and they actually showed that bow and arrows can be cool. Bow and arrows can be really cool, and the people using them can also be equally cool. So Kate and Clint really fucking shined in that kind of sequence. So yeah, props to them. And I will say one other thing I also loved, Clint's kind of hearing. I mean, for him, he does want to use the hearing aid. He wants to be, he wants to be able to use the hearing aid. I think, I think in case of emergencies, but also just for the sake of being able to do it, I think he has definitely learned a bit of how to lip read, but also sign out. Like he also has actually like learned how to sign too. So I think he was briefly able to communicate with Maya before he had to lie. Before he actually was briefly able to communicate with a lot more. To communicate with Maya, so he has learned how to sign just in case of an emergency, but also just because I think he knows it's useful to have. But then he also actually he like for his own comfort, for his own peace, and for his own kind of for his own sense of self and his own agency, he does want to still be able to use hearing aid. Like he still likes being able to hear, and he still likes being able to communicate that way and everything. So fair play to them for actually managing to actually fix the hearing aid later on down the line, and actually having it be back in his ear and working in one piece again. So that was cool, but still, actually, the softest scene, the softest, most like not necessarily, I think heartbreaking kind of, but heartwarming too because of what Kate did. But I think him actually answering the phone and him actually still kind of, I think him. Putting the phone on, actually trying to talk and actually at least making an effort to try and communicate without giving too much away, without giving away the fact that he actually couldn't hear them. But then Kate coming in just in time, and her actually writing stuff down. Her recognizing that the voice on the phone was like a little boy's too, like a little boy, like an actual little boy. So then that would be Nathaniel. So then actually her actually writing down like the briefest and most improvised like kind of transcripts of what Nathaniel was saying on the phone too. And like not just that, but actually her taking in what was said too. Like it's not like she was just it's not like she was just writing stuff down. It's not like she was just like transcribing or whatever. but she was actually taking in what was being like. God, if I can actually talk properly for 1 second, it's like she was actually It's like she was actually taking in what was being said. Like she was actually like she could hear Nathaniel perfectly, and she could actually hear everything he was saying, and she could even hear everything Clint was saying perfectly. So she knew exactly what the context behind that was. She knew exactly how important it was for Clint to get back to his family. So to actually hear his youngest child actually ask him when he's coming home and how he's bored and how everyone's asleep and how how family stuff is going. Like her actually taking in for the first time in a while now. Her actually taking in the fact that Clint, deep down, he is a family man. He is a human. He is a man with a family. He is a man with a family that he loves and cares about so very much. And he is only here to clear his name and to clear Kate's name of the Ronin legacy, and to actually clear out the Ronin legacy once and for all. But then by the end of it, he is dead set and center, intent on going back to his family for Christmas. So he needs to go back to them. He needs to go back to his family. He needs to be with them. He needs to make do and make well on the promises that he's made them, and to keep those promises. So then Kate deep down knows that, and to actually hear his son firsthand, asking Daddy when he's coming home and asking him about the Christmas movie marathon and all that kind of stuff, and actually knowing that Clint has and her actually being reminded that Clint actually has like another life on the side of this, and he actually has like a more personal life that he actually is fighting to protect and fighting to keep intact on the other end of all this. I think is like a not necessarily a wake up call, because I think she never really forgot about it to begin with, but I think like it's like a reminder that like even the human that it's a reminder for her that even the hero that she idolizes still is like a human being with a personal life underneath it all, and I think he's made it very clear. He's made it crystal clear to her that once he's done helping her with this thing, he's headed back to his family because he needs to be with them and everything. So actually hearing like a member of his family, being able to hear a member of his family. Being able to hear a member of his family reaching out and actually asking him and actually kind of inquiring about their Christmas wishes and everything is still like a changing thing for her, and actually writing his words down and even taking the whole conversation in as like another person on the outside of that call. It's just one of the most beautiful things. It's easily one of the best scenes in this whole show, in this whole show so far, and easily one of the best scenes of the episode, and actually just one of the softest and most kind of human scenes between Kate and Clint too. Like Clint even seeing Kate taking this all and actually kind of understanding, and him, I think at one point too, I think it was at the point, I think it was when there was a break, there was like an actual silent break, and Kate was like, he's not saying anything, I can't really say, I can't write anything down because he's not saying anything, and then in the end, Nathaniel says, like, it's okay if you can't come home for Christmas on time. We know and we love you and we understand and everything. And then like she writes that down almost word for word. And then Clint still takes it in and stuff, and he's still like he's struggling not to break down because he loves his kids so damn fucking much, and he wants to be there for them. He wants to be their dad. He wants to be there for Christmas. He wants to enjoy all the Christmas shenanigans with them, and he wants to actually make this the best Christmas for them possible since they came back and everything. And he wants to actually be there for his family and everything. So like it's actually taking everything in him. It's taking everything in him not to break down, but it's also taking everything in him for to not break down. It's also taking everything in him to not break down in front of Kate, because then deep down he knows this is not Kate's fault entirely. She does not deserve to feel like shit for actually keeping him in her hair, and actually for having kept him from being from being with his family for Christmas. Like she is also just a kid. She doesn't know half of the severity of this entire ordeal. She doesn't really know just how bad things could get, or how bad things are capable of getting. So despite how much he berates her, despite how much he kind of ignores her or throws some shady sarcasm her way, he knows deep down this is not entirely her fault. There are bigger forces at play than either of them, and there are darker forces at play too. So he knows that she does not need to feel like she's the reason that he's being kept from his family for Christmas. So I think he's kind of like if she sees him breaking down, then it's gonna be like, oh, this is my fault. It's because I just had to go see Opus Ronan. I just had to do this and bring Ronan back and bring Clint back into the game and everything. I just had to keep him away from his family and everything. So he knows that is the last thing either of them needs right now and stuff. So yeah, that scene just, wow, way to break me, Marvel, way to just really fucking break me. Just wow, just the most human emotions of all. So god damn it, yeah, that was beautiful. And they even spoke about branding. They even spoke in the diner about branding and everything, possible branding. And I think, yeah, I mean, look, so far, right, all the Disney Plus shows so far, all the Marvel Disney Plus shows so far have done a habit of introducing some amazing comic-accurate costumes for its characters by the end of the season. I mean, with the exception of Loki. With Loki, we've seen his other variants. I think especially Classic Loki. I think Classic Loki being the only one we've seen actually wearing anything remotely comic accurate. But with the exception of Loki, we've seen pretty much all the. We've seen Wanda and Falcon getting some stuff. I think that might be it. I really think that actually might be it. I think that's the only one we've had. We've had WandaVision, we've had Loki, Falcon, and Winter Soldier, and we've had What If, and then I'm pretty sure that's actually been it. So I think so then probably in that case probably just Wanda and Loki, Wanda and Falcon then. So Wanda having her iconic Scarlet Witch costume with the crown and everything, and then Falcon with the stars and stripes and everything, becoming Captain America. So we've had like a fair enough share of characters getting comic accurate costumes that just look incredible by the ends of their respective seasons and everything. And I think even Kate's kind of shoddy sketch kind of showed off I mean, her sketch wasn't even half bad. I think her sketch was actually still mostly comic accurate and everything. It was actually it being like a black kind of outline on like a white paper thing. She essentially said, picture this but in yellow, in purple even. Picture this but in purple. So if you color that in purple, you would essentially get the Hawkeye costume from the comics, like with the hawk's ears that look eerily like Wolverine, like a Wolverine mask, and the H on the forehead too, and then even like the arrow kind of thing pointing down on the actual chest, torso piece and everything. So I really do wonder how far they're gonna go with the costume in the scene, like if he's actually gonna go full on, because I think he used to have shades. He did used to have a purple costume. He did used to have like a dark purple costume. I think in the Avengers he had In the Avengers, he had the vest, like with the short sleeves and the arm kind of archery kind of safety guard thing. Like he had like the short sleeve vest that was purple. Then in Age of Ultron, he had the same thing but with the long sleeves. And then in Civil War, the same thing as well. So he had like in those two, he had the same kind of costume there. And then in Endgame, he donned the Ronin outfit. So there was that one was like a black and gold kind of thing. So he's never fully worn. He's never actually like been able to go out and wear his fully thing. But then he has mentioned, right, how, for one thing, he works like a ghost. He is a spy. Him and Natasha were both heavily trained and expertly trained SHIELD spies. They were spies, and because of that, they're there. I mean, with Natasha, it made sense too. I think the Black Widows, even inherently, the Black Widows don't wear anything other than black and even the minor part of red. Like, for the most part, they wear all black and everything. So Black Widows are also very, very espionage kind of characters. They're also spies. So even going into SHIELD, she still maintained her spy status and her spy kind of skills and everything. So she still wore all black. So for Black Widow, it made sense. For Black Widow, actually made sense, like hers being black and red and stuff, that made sense. And then with Hawkeye's thing, again, it was never all black. I think apart from Ronan's thing, it was never all black. It was actually just like a really really deep dark purple that you could just about recognize and everything. So with him though, because he's a spy, for him he's all about stealth, and he's all about actual being sneaky and being, you know, silent and everything. So, and because of that, he opts for like a dark color scheme. I think for him too, he even made a point of saying, like, you know, because he was a spy for the past 20-30 years, his whole thing was being unrecognizable. So if he wore it, like if he went with branding, and if he actually could create like a logo and a name and like an actual brand for himself, then people would recognize him, and that's the last thing he wants. So then, you know, like back then, his whole idea was actually go in, go out, and don't be recognized or discovered or anything. So but then also like him being like, you know, he is not a role model, like costumes like the one that Kate is referencing and talking about, and branding and like images like that are for heroes, and he does not see himself as a hero, like especially after what he did. But then even before that, like I think him and Widow, like even like before the Avengers, him and Widow never really saw themselves as heroes. Like they were always spies and agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything, so they never really considered themselves to be superheroes or anything. Like they were brought in because of their skill sets, like they were useful to the team, and they still had skill sets to offer, but then they never specifically saw themselves as superheroes even after that. Just saw themselves as like Avengers and everything, which on the one hand, they are typically like a superhero team, but then on the other hand, I think they can also kind of be seen as like a private militia of sorts. So there's that whole deal. If you want to go see the MCU Exchanges video on that, then that's really, really cool. But Clint hasn't, like, as Hawkeye, Clint has never seen himself as a hero or someone to be idolized or looked up to or anything. Like he sees himself. I think you know, like, again, because of the fact that, you know, like all it took for Ronan to come out was to have his family wiped away by the snap, while bad people still got to keep on living. So I think for him, Ronan is always in there. He always has the ability and the skill set and the kind of temperament to actually be Ronan, but then it's actually a matter of actually having the right motivation too. So the thing with him being Hawkeye is just like a less lethal version of him being Ronan. Like him being Hawkeye, you know, again, he's not a superhero, he's an agent, he's a spy, he's a master kind of tactician, like a killer in different ways. So he's never thought of himself as the kind of guy who would need that kind of imaging or that kind of like that kind of brand, because people look up to those brands and they idolize them, and they actually kind of keep them in their hearts and in their sights as they go about their day to day. And to him, Hawkeye is not one of those people, and especially after having been Ronin too, especially after having been Ronin, he really does not consider himself to be a hero in any sense of the word. So I do feel in that sense like maybe this season also might be about him rediscovering himself and actually him learning to let go of that lame and to maybe come to terms with the fact that that's not really who he is anymore, and he kind of like maybe kind of like looking into actually letting that darkness go. But I think if he doesn't learn to let that up, if he doesn't learn to let that darkness go, then it also might just be about him learning that he can't be Hawkeye anymore, or that he doesn't want to be Hawkeye anymore. So then he actively passes the torch down to Kate. Kate is someone who is idealistic, she's ambitious, she's good-willed, she has the right kind of mind and heart for this job. This season for her could also just about be about proving herself physically and positionally too, like her actually proving that she can handle herself and that she's capable, and she's actually, you know, like even if she gets herself into danger, she can actually handle herself and actually diffuse the situation appropriately. So for her, it's like, you know, like she has the right kind of like almost everything to be the next Hawkeye, and then it's going to take Clint time to actually recognize that, and then by the end of it he's going to be like, you know, well, the world could still do with Hawkeye, and if you want to be Hawkeye, then you can take care of your own branding and imaging problems, and you can learn how to actually make the world fall in love with Hawkeye again, so you can be the person to actually bring that kind of image back into the light for the first time in a way that it deserves to be. So then it might just be about him actually stepping down from that role officially and actually not being that person anymore. So yeah, maybe, just maybe. So yeah, that is pretty much all I got. That is all I got. I think the ending too, Jack came into the house with the Ronin sword. Jack came in with the Ronin swords, and he detected Clint almost immediately too. He, you know, cleared Clint kind of just around the corner with his own sword, with Ronin's sword and everything. So I think I'm half expecting a fight, but then at the same time I'm thinking Kate might come along and defuse the situation just in time. So it might not be much of anything to do with anything. So looking forward to that interaction next week. But yeah, that is definitely all I've got. That is pretty much all I've got. Like everything from an initial viewing of this episode. So, any thoughts you guys got of your own? Any theories you got? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to share? Comments are open as per usual. Have at it. Let me know what you thought and how you feel after this episode and what you're looking forward to in the coming ones and everything. So yeah, that was Hawkeye season 1, episode number 3. So thank you guys as always so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on the episode and what you think is coming up next time in Marvel's Hawkeye. Once again, the full-length reaction over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.